They will teach you how to make a living, but they will never teach you how to build a life. They will hand you calculators, charts, career guides, but they'll never hand you the map to your own greatness, because the map was never theirs to give. It is buried not in the system, but in you. There exists a hidden law. It is not written in textbooks or printed in job contracts. It will not appear in your feed nor echo in your friend's advice. It is a law known by the few, feared by the masses, and ignored by those who stay poor. Not poor in money alone, but in spirit, in ambition, in clarity. The law is simple. What you consistently believe, you become. And the tragedy, most people believe in limits. They believe in waiting. They believe in permission. And so they stay stuck, trapped in invisible cages made of doubt, debt, and distraction. But here's the truth that cracks the world wide open. The wealthy, truly wealthy, do not live by the rules of the average. They live by law, mental law, spiritual law, invisible but undeniable. The poor think in terms of wages. The rich, they think in terms of value. The poor seek comfort. The rich seek growth. The poor are trained to obey. The rich are trained to decide. And the difference begins in the mind, before it ever touches the bank account. Thomas Edison didn't wait for a job. He created light when the world sat in darkness. Henry Ford didn't ask how much a horse costs. He asked how to make horsepower obsolete. Andrew Carnegie didn't fear poverty. He used it as fuel to rewrite his story.
This hidden law doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care about your grades, your past, or your current balance. It responds to only one thing. Are you willing to take responsibility for your thoughts? Because poverty at its root is not the absence of money. It is the absence of vision. It is mental starvation in a world full of opportunity. It is choosing fear over faith every single day. You say, the rich are not lucky. They are intentional. They walk into rooms and decide who they are before the world has a chance to label them. They do not beg for attention. They command it. They do not hope for success. They expect it. Not from arrogance, but from alignment. Alignment with the law. And what is this law really? It is the understanding that the outer world is a reflection of the inner one. That riches do not come from hustle alone, but from clarity, from vision, from purpose set on fire. Most people wait to feel ready, but the rich, they act and allow readiness to catch up. They do not see failure as failure. They see it as feedback, as education, as sharpening steel. They know that behind every rejection is redirection. Behind every delay is development. And behind every loss is leverage if you know how to look. The hidden law doesn't promise ease. It promises power if you're willing to claim it. And to claim it, you must become the kind of person your dream requires. Not tomorrow, not when you feel motivated, but now. Because wealth doesn't chase those who wait. It moves toward movement. It flows to clarity. It follows discipline. And discipline, friend, is not punishment. It is self-respect made visible.
Every morning, the rich rise and decide, I will not live by default. I will live by design. Every night they reflect, not on what they lost, but on how they grew. While others blame, they build. While others scroll, they study. While others sleep, they sow. Because they know success is never owned. It is only rented, and rent is due every single day. This is the truth no one tells you. The difference between rich and poor has nothing to do with luck or talent. It has everything to do with alignment to this law, the law of mental causation. That your world does not shape your thinking shapes your world. And yet, most never pause long enough to realize it. They keep running in circles. Wake up, work, consume, complain, repeat. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they've never been taught how to think. They were taught how to follow, not how to lead themselves. They were taught how to stay safe, not how to take command. The rich, they understand that thoughts are not harmless. Thoughts are weapons, or they are anchors. They will either set you free or sink you slowly. The poor think thoughts of fear, limitation, jealousy, and distraction, and then wonder why nothing ever changes. But your mind, if left unmanaged, will become your master, and it is a cruel master. It will whisper every excuse. It will justify every delay. It will seduce you with comfort and poison you with regret. That's why the rich, those who live in purpose, not just profit, guard their mind like a fortress. They do not allow gossip, fear, or laziness to cross the gate. They read when others rest. They reflect when others react. They plan while others panic. Not because they're better, but because they chose to live differently. You see, wealth is not built in the bank first. It is built in the morning, when no one is watching, when you rise before the noise and speak life into your day. When you look in the mirror and say, "Today I build. Today I earn. Today I advance." Not for the applause, but because you made a decision. A decision to no longer be a spectator in your own life. Most people are spectators. They watch others win. They watch others build. They scroll through dreams that never become their own. And deep inside, they feel the weight of unexpressed potential. That weight is the silent killer. It does not scream, it whispers. It shows up in late-night regret and early morning hesitation. But here's what the rich know. The weight of discipline is light. The weight of regret is unbearable, so they choose discipline. They choose hard work, even when it's thankless. They choose long hours, not to burn out, but to burn bright. Because they know the fire inside them must be fed or it dies. The poor look for comfort. The rich create resilience. They run toward challenge because they know on the other side of resistance is reinvention. Do you want to know what separates the rich from the poor? It's not their upbringing. It's not their connections. It's not even their IQ. It's their ability to hold a vision longer than the world tells them it's possible. The rich think in decades. The poor think in paychecks. The rich plant trees they may never sit under. The poor chase shade for today. And that right there is the hidden law. Long-term vision with short-term intensity. It means showing up before the reward. It means outlasting doubt, outworking fear, and outperforming excuses. It means believing in something no one else sees. Yet, Walt Disney was told his dreams were unrealistic. He built a world no one believed in until they walked through the gates. Oprah was fired from her first TV job. Now she owns the platform. Steve Jobs was ousted from the company he founded. He came back and changed the world. Why? Because they were operating by a different law. The law that says, I am not my circumstances. I am my commitment. I am not my past. I am my possibility. And no one gets to write my future but me. This law demands everything from you. It demands discipline when you're tired, focus when you're overwhelmed, faith when you're broke, and vision when you're surrounded by doubt. But it gives you everything in return. Not just money, but freedom. Not just success, but significance. Not just attention, but alignment. Not just a career, but a calling. And the poor, they mock the rich. They say it's luck. They say it's unfair. They say must be nice. But what they don't see, what they refuse to see, is the price paid in private. The hours alone, the years of doubt, the nights of failure, the mornings of rejection. They don't see the breakdowns before the breakthroughs. Because the rich don't broadcast the pain. They channel it. They transmute it. They build with it. And while the world talks, they transform. While the world reacts, they reimagine. While the world sleeps, they rise. And when they rise, they do not ask the world for permission. They declare their intentions. They move with clarity, as if their future already exists, because in their mind, it does. They have already seen the vision. They've already walked the halls of their mansion, shaken hands with giants, signed deals in boardrooms still yet to be built. The rich live in the future. They borrow strength from what's coming. They don't wait for proof. They become the proof. The poor demand evidence before they believe. The rich believe until evidence bends to match their conviction. That's the hidden law. The mind must be led, not followed. It must be programmed, not left to wander. And when it is, it becomes a magnet for every resource, every person, every opportunity aligned with that purpose. It's not mystical, it's not magic, it's mental causation. The cause is the thought, the effect is the reality. A man who walks around thinking he's unworthy will subconsciously sabotage every opportunity. He'll shrink from greatness. He'll hide behind fear. He'll spend his energy justifying why things didn't work, instead of using that energy to make them work. But the man who believes, deeply, unshakably, that he was born to build, to lead, to create, he moves differently. But so is staying broke. So is living a life of what if. So is waking up with the weight of potential you never touched. That pain is heavier than the pain of discipline, heavier than rejection, heavier than the struggle. Because it is the pain of betrayal, betraying the version of you that could have been. Let me ask you something. Who would you be if you truly believed that you were powerful beyond measure? Who would you become if you stopped negotiating with fear and started acting like your life depended on it? Because it does. Every minute wasted in fear is a minute stolen from your legacy. Every excuse is a brick in the wall that separates you from your greatness. And every decision, every single one, is a vote for the life you're building or the life you're avoiding. You think the rich don't get scared? They do. They just move through fear. They don't wait for courage, they choose it. They don't wait for passion, they create purpose. They don't wait for the world to give them permission. They write their own laws. Because they know, this world was not made for those who shrink. It was made for those who rise. But rising is not a moment, it is a lifestyle. It's not just about waking up early or reading books. It's about how you think when no one is watching. It's about what you say to yourself when the world tells you no. It's about the inner battle, the war between who you've been and who you are becoming. The poor avoid that war. They numb it with distractions, with drama, with comfort. Because facing the truth is hard. Looking in the mirror and saying, I am responsible for the results I have, takes courage. But the rich, they face that mirror every day. They don't lie to themselves. They don't sugarcoat their reality because they know that transformation begins with truth. And truth, while painful, is the doorway to freedom. It is in that sacred space between who you are and who you're becoming that the hidden law becomes visible. In that space, your excuses die. Your weakness is exposed, but so is your power. You realize that the same energy it takes to complain could be used to create. That the same energy used to doubt could be used to build. That every time you chose comfort over calling, you were voting against yourself. The rich don't vote that way. They vote every day for expansion. They cast their votes in morning routines, in powerful conversations, in investments no one understands yet. They vote with their standards. They vote with their discipline. Because they know what you practice in private is what the world will experience in public. Most people want the results without the rituals. They want success without the suffering. They want greatness without the grind. But the hidden law is not fooled. It demands a price. And that price is consistency under pressure. It is how you show up when it's boring, when it's hard, when the dopamine is gone and the doubt is loud. That's when the real work begins. Because anyone can post motivation, anyone can talk big on social media, but few can hold the line when everything says quit. Few can stay focused when results are slow. Few can continue to believe when nothing seems to be working. But the rich, they understand something deeper. Success is not speed. It's alignment over time. It's not about how fast you move. It's about how long you stay in the game with integrity, vision, and intention. They know that empires are not built in adrenaline. They're built in repetition, in the lonely hours, the quiet, unglamorous, invisible labor, the sacrifices no one sees, the rejection no one talks about, the fear no one admits out loud. And yet, they keep showing up. Because when you are aligned with purpose, you become unstoppable. Your moves are not motivated by applause. They are motivated by assignment. That's the secret the poor don't understand. The rich don't work for money alone. They work for meaning. And when meaning drives the mission, the money follows. They don't chase money. They magnetize it. Not with gimmicks or shortcuts, but with value creation. You want to attract wealth? Solve problems. Serve people. Build something bigger than yourself. Money is a reflection of the impact you create, and impact is born from ownership. Ownership of your gifts, ownership of your time, ownership of your energy. The poor give their energy to distraction. The rich direct their energy like a laser. Every thought, every hour, every interaction is intentional. Because they know time is the most valuable currency, and wasting it is the most expensive mistake. So they protect it. They protect their focus like a lion protects its territory. They say no more than they say yes. Not because they're selfish, but because they know their yes has power, and to misuse that power is to betray their purpose. This is what the hidden law demands: that you act as if your life matters, that you move like your time is sacred, that you speak like your words shape reality, because they do. This is not positive thinking. This is mental discipline. The rich train their thoughts like warriors. They do not allow negativity to nest in their mind. They confront it, challenge it, replace it. Because what you repeat becomes your reality. Every lie you tell yourself, "I'm not ready, I'm not smart enough, I wasn't born into it," becomes a silent contract with failure. And every truth you dare to believe, "I am capable, I am chosen, I will find a way or make one," becomes a sacred agreement with destiny. That's the difference. The rich rewrite the scripts in their head. They don't inherit beliefs, they engineer them. They don't absorb doubt, they reject it. They build thought patterns like architects build empires, brick by brick, thought by thought, discipline by discipline. Because they understand, before you build anything in the world, you must build it in the mind. The skyscraper was a thought. The airplane was a thought. The internet was a thought. Before it became real, it had to be believed. And so must your future. You can't manifest what you're afraid to imagine. You can't attract what you keep doubting. You can't hold what you won't claim. This is why the poor stay stuck. They dream vaguely and act inconsistently. They whisper wishes, then speak doubt with authority. They play small, pray big, and move never. But the rich? They are obsessed with clarity. They don't just say, "I want success." They define it. They schedule it. They pursue it with the intensity of fire consuming dry wood. They visualize the details, not someday, but today. They taste the win before it happens. They feel the applause before it's earned.
They become the version of themselves required before the world even sees it. Because success doesn't respond to hope, it responds to alignment, to congruence between thought, word, and action. And that alignment sends a signal to people, to opportunities, to the universe itself. The poor send mixed signals. One day they're in, the next they're distracted. One week they're consistent, the next they're complaining. They wait to feel like it. But the rich, they show up whether they feel like it or not, because feelings follow decisions, not the other way around. The hidden law rewards the unseen labor. It rewards the decision you make at 5 a.m. when no one is watching. It rewards the hour you spend learning instead of scrolling. It rewards the budget you kept when no one clapped. It rewards the unsexy, repetitive actions that compound over time. Most people live in reaction. The rich live in ritual. They master their mornings. They protect their energy. They align their inputs with their intended outcome. And here's the most brutal truth. If you do not create your life with intention, someone else will use you to build theirs. You'll spend your life building someone else's dream while yours collects dust. You'll trade your potential for a paycheck, your time for approval, your calling for comfort. And at the end, when it's quiet, you'll hear the voice that always lived inside you say, "I gave you the vision. Why didn't you trust it?" The rich don't wait for the world to validate their dream. They become the validation. They walk into the storm knowing the storm is the very thing that will sharpen their sword. They embrace challenge, not because they enjoy pain, but because they understand it. Because they know resistance is proof that you're moving. Ask any high performer, any self-made success. There was a moment, a defining moment, where they chose themselves. Not because they were ready, not because it was convenient, but because the alternative, living a life half-lived, was no longer acceptable. That's when the shift happens. Not when life gets easier, but when you get stronger. That's the law. And here's the final key. The rich understand that this law is not something you apply once. It is not a one-time decision. It is a daily contract. Every day you renew it. Every day you decide again. I will think differently. I will act with purpose. I will live by law, not by luck. And over time, life bends to those who bend themselves, because that is the truth the masses never hear. Life doesn't bend for the weak. It bends for the disciplined. It molds itself around the man or woman who dares to believe relentlessly, who dares to move differently. You weren't born to fit into the system. You were born to rise above it. You were born to master it. But first, you must master yourself. The poor are mastered by their emotions. The rich master their emotions. They feel fear and move anyway. They feel tired and still execute. They feel overwhelmed and instead of shutting down, they simplify. Because their mission is greater than their mood. They understand that emotions are messengers, not dictators. That action is the cure to most confusion. That progress silences anxiety. That motion creates clarity. And so, they move. Not recklessly, but with resolve. Not desperately, but with discipline. They don't sit around and wait for motivation to strike like lightning. They build habits so strong that motivation becomes irrelevant. You want to know what separates those who have from those who wish? The poor pray for change. The rich become the change. The poor hope to be chosen. The rich choose themselves. Because once you understand this law, you realize that every excuse is a confession. Every hesitation is a silent surrender. And every delay is just another day you're choosing to be someone you're not.
The world will not hand you greatness. It will not crown you king because of your intentions. It crowns those who earned it in silence. It gives power to those who mastered their inner world while the outer world laughed.
The rich are forged in fire. And that fire is lit not by envy or greed, but by purpose. Purpose that is so deeply rooted, so unshakable, that not even failure can touch it. Not even betrayal can break it. Not even time can weaken it. Purpose is what gives the rich their edge. It's why they don't quit at the first obstacle. It's why they stay in the fight when others fold. Because when you are living for something greater than comfort, comfort loses its grip on you. While the poor ask, what if it doesn't work? The rich ask, what if it does? While the poor imagine loss, the rich imagine legacy. They see their children free, their family elevated, their name respected, their impact lasting. They project their vision into the future until it pulls them through the pain. And when others tell them to be realistic, they smile, because they know something most never learn. The most realistic thing you can do is bet on your own greatness. That's not ego, that's not arrogance. That's alignment with who you were created to be. You were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to lead, to inspire, to become the blueprint for others. And that's the highest form of wealth, legacy. That's the currency that never runs out, the kind that outlives you, that multiplies in silence, that becomes a torch passed down for generations. But it all begins with a decision to no longer be average, to no longer explain your delay, to no longer hide behind fear and call it humility, to no longer shrink when your name is called. It begins with the courage to confront your current reality and the faith to see beyond it. Because the law, the hidden law that separates the rich from the poor, is not written in ink. It is written in habit, in thought, in grit, in relentless vision. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another quote. You need to act like your life is your responsibility, because it is. You are not waiting for a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. You are not stuck. You are stalling. You are not lost. You are ignoring the map inside you. And the second you commit, fully, violently, unapologetically, life begins to open. Not all at once, not without resistance, but with confirmation. Doors appear where there were only walls. Voices rise that once stayed silent. Opportunities emerge you weren't qualified for, but suddenly prepared for. Because the law responds to the one who steps first. Not the one who waits, not the one who hesitates, but the one who moves. That first step is everything. Not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. It's a declaration to the universe that says, I will no longer sit quietly in the audience of my own life. Because life is not a rehearsal. You don't get a second opening night. This is it. This is your show. And how you live it will echo through generations you may never meet. Understand this. The poor inherit mindset by default. The rich design it with intention. And if you want to break the chain, if you want to be the first in your line to change everything, it starts with you. You must go where your family didn't. You must believe what your teachers couldn't. You must rise above the noise of mediocrity and build a world that only you can see. You may be the first, but you do not have to be the last. Because what you build, what you become, will become the permission slip for someone else's greatness. That's how legacies begin. Not in comfort, but in courage. Courage to think differently, to act decisively. You stop playing roles. You start walking in truth. You stop surviving. You start creating. And people will notice. They'll ask how you did it. They'll say you're lucky. They'll try to make sense of your evolution. But you'll know that what they call luck was law. What they call magic was mental mastery. What they call fate was faith, discipline, vision, and relentless execution. You didn't wait. You chose. You didn't blend in. You broke through. You didn't follow the path. You became it. And when it's all said and done, when your story is told and your name is remembered, let it be said that you were one of the few, that you saw the law for what it was, that you lived it when others ignored it, that you rose when others hesitated, that you became the bridge from poverty to purpose, from average to abundance, from small thinking to a life of infinite possibility. Because that's the truth. The hidden law that separates the rich from the poor is the courage to become the person no one thought you could be. And now, it's your move.